Hey guys, and thank you for joining me for yet another video. In this presentation, we're going to be taking a look at how to prepare a macaroni pie. Now, macaroni pie is primarily made out of elbow macaroni, although you can use any pasta of your choice that's seasoned with cheese, milk, and eggs, and baked to nice pie perfection. So let's take a look at how to get into this and achieve these results. I have 5 cups of water on a boil here. I'm going to be adding 1 tablespoon of cooking oil to that, as well as 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to be adding some pasta to it. In this case, I'm using some elbow pasta. So I poured out 2 cups of that macaroni in here, and I'm going to be pouring it into this direct heat. And I'm also going to be pouring out another 2 cups. That's going into that heat as well. So we're going to be placing that into the water as well to boil. We're going to set a timer on this for 10 minutes and then we'll be back to check it. So after your 10-minute timer goes off, you bring your pot over to the sink and you have a strainer there waiting for it, and you're going to be draining this pasta off into the strainer. And then you're going to sit this tray on top of the pot for it to drain out properly, and you're going to just leave it in the sink for about 10 minutes. In the meantime, you're going to be prepping a bunch of other ingredients for this. So the same pot that the pasta was in, you don't have to rinse it or anything because it's all the same meal. You're going to take a 1/2 cup measurement, and you're going to take some evaporated milk, whichever evaporated milk of your choice, and you're going to put a 1/2 cup of that milk in there. And you're going to put that directly into this pot that had the pasta. You're also going to take a tablespoon of margarine and add it to that. So you're going to put that on the stove on a medium-high fire until the butter melts. Once the butter melts, you're going to take this off because you don't need this milk to come to a boil. You do need the butter to be melted and you need the milk to be warm, but you don't need the milk hot. So as soon as your butter melts, remove this off of the stove or turn off the stove. So we're going to let this be until the butter melts. So we're also going to be shredding some cheese. We're going to be shredding about 2 cups of cheese, whichever cheese of your choice. In this case, I'm using the old cheddar. But we're going to be shredding it on the thicker side. You can use the fine side as well. But we're going to shred 2 cups of cheese, and I'll be back to show you. So once the butter is melted like that, we're going to go in with 1 tablespoon of flour into this milk and butter. Make sure your fire is on very low, by the way. This shouldn't be on a high fire, so turn your fire down to low. So immediately after adding your flour and turning your fire down to low, you're going to go in with a whisk. A whisk is the best tool to use in this brew, just to help break down the flour and to make sure things don't get clumpy on you. So after you get to about 3 minutes of stirring this in, it's going to get pretty thick. So you're going to back it up with the same 1/2 cup of milk that you use. You're going to back that up with 1/2 cup of water, and you're going to and that was hot water, by the way. So the same 1/2 cup measurement, you're going to take that and you're going to stuff a full 1/2 cup of cheese to the side. And you're going to be leaving that back for the top. So we'll just set that aside, and we'll be using the rest of this cheese. It will be going directly into this mixture here. Yeah, so once your cheese goes in, you're just going to whisk it into this mixture. So you'd remove that same saucepan and put it in the sink because, you know, you don't want it to take in any more heat by sitting on the stove or burning or getting thick on you. So here's the consistency of this sauce. It's super super, it's not thick or thin, it's just smooth, you know, like a cheese sauce, which is what you want. To that, you're going to be adding a tablespoon of chicken base seasoning. And you're going to need that just because this has no flavor at this point. And whisk it in. After adding that chicken base and mixing it in, that tablespoon of chicken base, you're going to start adding your pasta into this sauce. So you're going to scoop your pasta out into there and start mixing it in. Because it's such a big bowl of it, I'm gonna do half of it and put it in there, and I'm gonna show you how we mix it in, and then we're gonna add the other half. But I'm gonna start with my first half. So we put the first half of the pasta into the sauce, and we're gonna just mix it in till this pasta gets super creamy. So we're gonna take a lasagna sized Pyrex dish, and we're gonna put in about 1 teaspoon of butter. And we're going to cover this entire pan with butter along the base and the sides of this dish. So to a bowl, you're going to add 3 eggs. You're just going to crack 3 eggs into that. And to that, you're going to add half a teaspoon of chives. You're going to add half a teaspoon of parsley flakes, a hint of chili flakes. How much ever you're comfortable with. You don't have to add this at all if you don't like any form of heat. I'm going to be adding half a teaspoon of garlic and half a teaspoon of ginger, and we're also going to be adding a full tablespoon of chicken base concentrate. We're going to be adding a tablespoon of evaporated milk, and we're going to also be adding a teaspoon of green seasoning. And we're going to give this a nice whisk till everything's incorporated. So right after you mix it and it's well incorporated into the eggs, all the seasoning, you're going to just be pouring this directly over your pasta. And then you're going to be incorporating this into the pasta that you have there. So you're going to give it a nice little mix until all of this is incorporated into the pasta. So once your pasta has been incorporated and it's gotten this nice creamy look to it, as you can see here, it's super rich and creamy, almost like a mac and cheese creamy. So we're gonna just be pouring this right on into our glass dish. So that's the next step. The next step is to pour it in. So I'm going to pour this in and we're going to spread it out. So once you pour your pasta on over into the dish, you're just going to spread it out. You're going to spread it out till it's one like even. Okay, so try to get out all the little air pockets. So you're going to press it with the back of a spoon. So remember that half a cup of cheese that we had shredded earlier. So we're just going to go in with it and lightly drizzle it over our macaroni. You don't need a lot, or you could put a lot, it's up to you. But since mine is filled with enough cheese, I'm just gonna sprinkle it so that the top layer is actually, you know, cheesy a little. So that's the drizzle of cheese that was placed on it. I'm gonna just garnish it with some chive, and then we're gonna just place this into the oven. My oven just beeped, so it's ready to take this, and we're gonna place it in the oven and put a timer of 40 minutes on it at 375 degrees. So we're just gonna put it on our middle rack of the oven at 375. So my oven just beeped for my macaroni pie. It looks perfect. I'm gonna be removing it from the heat now and placing it to cool. So we'll let that sit here and cool out on its own. So I have my macaroni pie here that I'm about to cut into. I'm just gonna give it a cut from here. And there's the profile of the macaroni pie. It's still steaming hot even though it's been cooling for an hour, but it was cool enough to be cut into. So there we go, there's a close profile of the pie, and it's going into its dish.